wireless video transmission on set. This is something that I've taken for granted now for a while on set because luckily in the modern era, it's not something that's so expensive that I have to forego having it. There are a lot of really affordable, really great options that will get the job done. Get your director a monitor on set, get your script supervisor, your focus puller. If you want to have a big screen or a video village set up, it's never been easier. So I've been using the same video transmission system for a while. It was the Accsoon CineView Pro 2. It worked great. You could transmit to iOS devices as well as the receiver. You could set up a video village. You could do pretty much everything you needed to do. However, the reason I'm upgrading is because these companies that are making these things now, they're integrating the transmitters and the receivers right into the monitors, which means if I use that, I can get rid of that transmitter on the camera. I can rig one less battery, one less cable, have all of the transmission handled right in the monitor, streamline the camera rig, and to me, one less thing on the camera actually yields me huge dividends on set, especially over long hours. So what I ended up landing on was the Accsoon CineView M7 Pro monitor. It's a 7-inch 4K monitor with built-in transmission and receiving capabilities. I've been looking at this monitor for a while now. However, it's only just recently that Accsoon has released the firmware update that allows this monitor to transmit wirelessly. Prior to now, I think you could receive on it and you could use it obviously as a monitor, and it does run Android, so you could install parallel apps and things like that. But the thing that I was interested in and what I was really going for was having this monitor be an all-in-one monitoring and transmission system, getting rid of a transmitter on the camera, lightening up the rig. So I waited until they released that update, and that's when I went ahead and pulled the trigger on this monitor. So one thing that was a little bit annoying is because the transmission feature is newly added to this monitor through a firmware update, when I received my unit in the mail, I had to go through the firmware update in order to unlock that feature. And I went about doing that. I upgraded to the latest firmware and I turned the monitor on and I started trying to connect using the Accsoon C app, and nothing. I couldn't get it to connect. I couldn't get it to transmit. It just wasn't working. And I thought, I'm going to have to return this thing. It's not working the way it should be working. And I really need that transmission capability. That's the whole reason that I'm going this route. But as I went through the troubleshooting, I did notice on the website that it asked you to do the firmware update twice. Not sure how that helps, but I went about doing that. I did the same firmware packet update again, and once I did that, all the features started to wake up, and all the tools were there, and I was good to go. So because this was a newly unlocked feature of this monitor, I couldn't really find a lot of great information or reviews on whether or not it was going to do the main thing that I needed it to do, which is exactly what my older unit did. I needed it to transmit not only to the iOS devices, but also to a receiver, and to do it simultaneously, both at the same time. Nothing in the literature led me to believe, that it wouldn't, but it didn't explicitly say that it would. So I received the monitor about a week before a short film shoot that I had coming up, and I wanted to put it through its paces, but I was a little bit reluctant because I had been using the other system for so long, and the shoot was only a week away. So I decided to do some tests at home, and I have to say, in my at-home testing, everything worked great. And when I got to set, I said, okay, I'm going to use the new system. And I'm delighted to say that it didn't let me down. It did everything my old system did, and it did it a little bit better, a little bit less latency, better picture quality. I always give a monitor to the director and the focus puller, and usually to the script supervisor. Will all have their own monitors. In this case, the director was using an iPad Pro as a monitor, as was the script supervisor. But for the focus puller, seeing that they were doing something very critical, I set them up with a proper on-set field monitor with the receiver for a little bit less latency and a little bit clearer of an image for them to do their critical focus and things like that. The only issue that I ran into is that one of the iPads, and this was the one that the script supervisor had, twice in the course of shooting, it disconnected from the Wi-Fi that the Accsoon monitor creates. And I can't say if that was an issue with the Wi-Fi setup that the monitor is creating, or if it was an issue with that iPad. Again, it only happened to that one iPad, And the good news is that it only took a couple of seconds to walk over there, turn the Wi-Fi on that iPad off, back on, close the app, reopen the app, and everything would come right back up. The other iPad never happened, never lost connection with the receiver. So I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say, there could have been something to do with that iPad. I don't know. So one of my absolute favorite things about this system, and this was true of my earlier system as well as the new one, is that with the iPad app, when you're monitoring, whenever I have my longtime script supervisor on set, his name's Alex, he's learned to hit record on the iPad during takes. And after a few takes, or if we're really curious if we've got something, I can say, hey Alex, play me back that last take, and it's instantaneous. You'll have it right on the iPad. You can play it and we can watch it and make sure that we got exactly what we need on set and move on. With some of the modern camera systems, it can really slow things down if you're using the camera to do playback and review takes, because especially with Reds and some of the more advanced cameras, they've got to go into a different mode for playback, and that can slow things down. With this, walks right over the iPad, we review it, and we move on. And I almost feel naked without that feature now, because it just provides so much confidence and assurance that you got what you need before moving on. When you're transmitting to the iPad app, it also has those tools. You can have LUT support, you can use false color scopes, all of those things built right into the app, as well as recording on the app for, like I said before, immediate playback. So the really good news here is that this isn't the only company out here making these things. There's competition, which always is a good thing in the market, to keep everybody doing their best. Hollyland has a system that does basically this exact same thing, and I've been on set where people were using the Hollyland system, and in my opinion, they're comparable. I don't know if one might be better in some slight way over another one in one area, and vice versa. In my opinion, when I saw them in use, the experience was the exact same. It's almost like the same. It's McDonald's versus Burger King, take your pick. And I'm not loyal to any of these companies. I have to buy this stuff with my own money. Nobody's sending me this stuff for free. So I'm more than happy if you say, hey, I want to buy the Hollyland one. Buy the Hollyland one. I think it does a great job. I've seen it on set. I can tell you this one does a great job. But the elephant in the room is that while these are great, they're still not Teradeks, right? They still have a little bit in the way of latency. It's very good. My ACs have no problem pulling focus with these things, but they're not the Teradek, right? And the price reflects that. You're not paying those prices for the price that these cost. I think you're getting such a tremendous value, and what these are going to bring to set, being able to monitor, being able to play back on the iPads. It's if you haven't been operating with a wireless transmission system and you add this to your kit, you're going to feel like you're in heaven. It's going to be amazing and open up a lot of possibilities for you, give you a lot of confidence on set. So hopefully you found this helpful. If this helped you make a decision to either buy this system or said, no, I don't want to buy that one now after watching, I want to buy the Hollyland one, that's great. I'm glad that I helped you make a decision. You could buy this one. You could buy the DJI. You could buy Teradek if you want. Again, this is not a video made from the top of a mountain. I'm just a fellow climber like you. If we work hard and we stick together, then hopefully we'll see each other at the top.